the KELOLAND Digital Desk, I'm meteorologist Scott Mundt, and this is Weather or Not. Coming up on today's show for Monday, October 27th, Brian Karstens threw something in KELOLAND this morning about the world's smallest pumpkin. We'll see what he's talking about. Otherwise, model differences. This is even going over the next 24 hours. We have big differences coming in with these models. We'll take a look at, I believe we have 3, maybe 4 different models that we'll be able to show you and talk about. We'll talk about the drought, too. We've received about 2/3 of an inch of rainfall so far this month in Sioux Falls, and we are dry, especially for about the southern third or maybe the southern quarter of the area. It's coming in very dry. We'll take a look at the latest drought monitor and, of course, talk about that snow trend. Is anything changing? One thing that is changing is I'm going now November 10th, 20th, and 30th, throwing out the 30th of October. So we'll take a look at what the models are thinking as we go into November. Here's Futurecast for today. This is this afternoon. We've been following these shower chances, maybe a couple of isolated thunder showers too. If that happens, we think the best setup for that may end up being central to north-central South Dakota. We'll watch things spin around this low-pressure system as that colder air is also trying to work in behind it. Could be cold enough to give us some snow showers for the higher elevations of the hills later today in western South Dakota. This is a look at things this evening going into the overnight and for tomorrow. Still some lingering showers in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND for tomorrow morning. We'll try to get rid of those showers during the afternoon and bring in a slow decrease in cloud cover for eastern KELOLAND. Otherwise, expect sunshine into western, eventually central South Dakota during the afternoon tomorrow. We'll have a healthy north to northwest wind as well. Here is a look at our winds for this afternoon. I think this goes into tonight and tomorrow. Still from the south during the afternoon hours, gusting to 30 miles per hour and more throughout much of eastern South Dakota. And then once the front moves through, you'll know it because we'll have these west to northwest winds, and we have this wind gust here in Rapid City coming in that mid-40 mile per hour range. That's this afternoon. Watch what happens as we do get into the evening. That's 7 o'clock, starting to see these northwest winds into parts of north-central South Dakota. And then as we get into maybe the later part of this evening, I know the model's been picking up on a couple of areas with some of these wind gusts over 50 miles per hour. In fact, that one coming in Fulton is at 51, and that's at 10 o'clock this evening. So once that front moves through, it will pack some very strong winds with it coming in from the northwest, and some of the strongest wind speeds will be felt in north-central South Dakota. And then everybody will have a north to northwest wind for tomorrow, these wind gusts of 25 to 30 miles per hour or more. So our forecast for today, notice that the highest percentage coming in for our rain is at 80%, and that is Mobridge. Surrounding those areas, it's around 60 to 70, 50% chance for a rain in Aberdeen. And then those numbers do start to go down as you move into southeastern South Dakota. Sioux Falls at about 30%. Still think the best bet to get wet will be late today going into tonight in southeastern KELOLAND. And our forecast for tonight calls for the rain across the east and southeast. Temperatures will fall to the 30s and 40s. Notice how we do have the 40-degree weather across eastern South Dakota. And keep in mind, too, that we could probably have a couple of lingering showers early tomorrow morning. Coming up, Brian Karstens will join me, and he'll talk about the world's smallest pumpkin. Stay with us. You're watching this latest edition of Weather or Not. Welcome back to Weather or Not, and I am joined by Brian Karstens. Brian, welcome to Monday. We'll get to that small pumpkin here in just a bit. Do you still have it labeled as the world's smallest pumpkin?
Smallest, yeah, not just small. It could be the contender.
Okay. Yeah,
is there a competition?
I don't know. That's something we can look at. We all know about the big pumpkins, the large ones. That you grew what? We were talking about this 15 years ago. You were wheeling a couple into the studio?
Yeah, I don't know why that popped in my head this morning, but I thought, yeah, I remember. I bet it was 15 years ago, and we must have had a really good crop of pumpkins. And for some reason, I thought I needed to wheel one of them into the studio, so I did. And I remember the old set. I remember having that right next to the monitor where we used to do first weather. You remember that? We used to call it the plasma screen.
Oh, gosh. I remember plasma
That's back
screen.
when the word plasma TVs.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
You remember those days?
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal because it was a big flat screen HD monitor.
We used to have a plasma one at the house.
Yeah. And remember how expensive they were?
They were, and heavy.
They were heavy, yes. And then, of course, the thing we had to watch in the studio was the fact that if you left a weather map or a logo in there too long, it would burn that image in there.
Yep.
So you always had to be careful after the show to change it to something or shut it off or to preserve the life of it.
That's right. And I remember the one that we had at the house, there was a function on there to kind of wipe those images off. If you started to see it kind of blend or bleed into the screen, there was some kind of function on the TV where it would turn white, and then there was a black bar that kept going across to kind of get rid of that image to reset it.
All these things.
Man.
Yeah.
Those were
the
the
years
days,
ago,
right?
20 years ago at least. Yeah.
Oh, it's been a while. Let's talk about this small pumpkin. What do you have?
So now to today. See, now we're going to enter a new chapter in pumpkin growing at the Karstens garden residence here. So we found this yesterday. Actually, this was a little discovery after the frost and freeze in this little itty bitty pumpkin. This is one of those little Jack B. Littles. So if you get into your names of your pumpkins, it's really a miniature pumpkin anyway.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But isn't that something? That's kind of cute. You know, the girls, they loved it right away.
It looks perfect.
Yeah. So I teased on the show this morning. I'm like, well, we'll show you actually how big it is. So as doing my due diligence, you know, just like hail, what do? We always say you got to get a quarter.
Put it next to something.
You got to
the size of it.
Yes, you got to put it something uniform and standard, so we all know how big the object is. So there's our quarter. Now we looked up online. We were just having some fun, and we found a couple of little ones that somebody put a 50-cent piece up to, but I don't think I saw a quarter. So I don't know.
Who's carving this one?
And nobody is probably carving it, Scott.
You need little instruments, utensils to carve this one.
Wouldn't that be something?
And
I'm sure it could be done.
Put a tiny little light or candle in there. That'd be great.
All right, challenge is on.
No. But someone's planning on painting it.
Yeah, I think the girls will paint it. They've got some nice acrylic paints and other fun things, so they can do that. But yeah, that was kind of a fun little thing yesterday. Just found that in the garden.
That's great.
Just kind of roaming around.
Finally finished the house. I'm not getting on the extension.
Speaking of painting, you've been so busy with that.
Oh my gosh.
How many weeks has it been?
We bought the paint on the 31st of August, and I was gone for 2 weekends. One was for a softball tournament in Huron.
That's right.
One weekend was a trip to Illinois.
Yep.
So those weekends were kind of lost. Melanie did stuff too to help, and she did a great job on adding stone. We took down a couple of boards, and she added some stone to the side of the house too.
That's a neat project too.
On both sides of the garage. So it looks like a different house.
You are.
I mean, so
you're doing the renovations.
The next time I'm on the extension ladder, probably in a couple of weeks to put up Christmas lights. That's my plan.
And let it sparkle as you got the fresh coating of paint, all the new boards, all the various things you've done. So
I don't have to worry about painting at all during the afternoon now. But later this evening, we have our Doppler special.
We do, and that's a great thing to bring up because we're going to, of course, have your snowfall
prediction.
Are you going to spill any beans on this show at all?
Nope. Melanie doesn't know. Keep it to myself. I'll be on KELOLAND Living. They'll be asking questions and trying to get it out of me, and nope, won't happen.
All right.
It's always a secret until 6:30 this evening.
We'll tease the audience.
6:55.
Yeah, the end of the show.
One year we should just put it at the beginning of the show.
Would be
see what happens.
Yeah, but you gotta live by the traditions. I think where we always tease it and then we get started.
And this is a great time of year too that you bring up traditions, right?
Yeah.
I've gone through trick or treating with the kids when they were younger. Now that they're older, no, I think Peyton's working on Halloween. But when you get into Thanksgiving time, Christmas, family traditions are being held.
Yep, absolutely. And boy, that'll be here before you know
Oh,
it.
I know. We have to figure out that holiday schedule. We talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, I know. All these background things we got to do. We'll figure out what we need to do. But pumpkin pie, it's one of my favorites. So we keep on the pumpkin bandwagon here. So hopefully a week of weather. Now, I know we need to circle back around to the weather.
Yep, okay.
Because this is the whether or not
show.
Here
we go. Okay, we got rid of the or not today.
We always do some of that. Okay, so model differences. We've been talking all morning, and now here it is afternoon. What do we do with this forecast for tonight, tomorrow? And there are some pretty stark differences. Now, this is a graphic basically from the morning show, okay? So keep in mind that this was airing on our broadcast around 6 a.m., okay? And and this is what we call the HER model. This is basically a rapid...
rapid refresh.
Yeah. The acronym has the words rapid refresh cycle model is what I'll call it. There's another R in there. So basically, the bottom line is this is a short-term model. It's not a global model. In other words, these are more, their intent here is to hone in on local weather. Now, this is run across the country, so local is a relative word. But basically, it gives us an idea of when we show thunderstorms in the summertime, we like to kind of show some realistic pictures of what the radar could look like in the next 12 hours, 24 hours.
And this is updated every hour.
Oh, yeah. Every hour we get a fresh new bit of data here. But look at the gaps in here. I mean, you got Sioux Falls, hardly anything on this. So this is what we have to work with in the morning. Okay.
But keep in mind, I pointed this out to you this morning, too. It's almost like an inverted V there. You have the heavier rains in the northwestern South Dakota through central North Dakota, and then we have that band of rain coming down toward the Twin Cities, over toward La Crosse, eastern Iowa.
Yep. And that's a good point, because you can see the shape of, the pattern of the rain, but it's the placement. It's where. We bring up where. So look at this. This is the European model. And same kind of picture, that inverted V. So you got that one strip that goes through North Dakota, and then the second strip on the right-hand side, right down Minnesota.
It's a little closer, isn't it?
Oh, a whole lot closer. Now, just to let you know, too, that previous graphic, this one right here, as of the time of right now when we're talking about this program, this model data has all shifted west from when this graphic was made.
Closer to what the European.
Correct. Closer to this. Isn't that something? So that tells me that on a global scale, you really have to get a bigger picture. The global models are going to win this one, I think. It's looking more and more likely as time goes by. There's a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of physics, a lot of the mathematical calculations that go into the global models where they can position these upper level circulations a little better. Even the Canadian model says, yeah, bring on the rain. How much rain could fall tonight and tomorrow in Sioux Falls, Scott?
Could we have big differences over short distances?
Yeah, western side of that gradient, absolutely. That's going to drop off. And, you look at even the difference there. See that between Mitchell and Sioux Falls? It's a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
Not much rain in Mitchell, but a lot in Sioux Falls. If that can hold, that could give us, actually the raw data would be at least a half an inch, if not an inch of rain. And there would be, if you take that verbatim for what it says, you got southwest Minnesota, that dark green patch around Marshall, that would be
over an inch.
Yeah, it'd be over an inch. So it's something that the farmers, you definitely need to be watching this. This could actually slow you down for a little bit. I think all the corn is gone in my entire neighborhood. The last patch went out this weekend within, a mile or two of my house. So my drive into Sioux Falls, it's just getting to be hardly anything left out there. So they've had a good fall for harvest.
And this is tonight in the east, it's tonight, tomorrow. We'll see how long it lingers. But after this, it looks like dry conditions. So we'll dry out again.
Exactly. And this upper air pattern map, too, shows kind of the things going on here. We were also debating earlier in the show about the low down in Tennessee and if that would be a feature. And I do think that is actually making this kind of more of a muddled mess anyway, because the modeling is trying to handle that, And typically if you have a low tracking down there, that can cut off rain for us. I've seen that happen many times. But this is interesting. When this comes in out of the northwest tonight, you watch this low, and the barometric pressure, the barometer, will be falling as that low gets its act together, and boom, it goes right down into north central Kansas. It'll be dropping through Grand Island, Concordia, Kansas. It's going to go down past, I would say down to Joplin, Missouri. You get down to Springfield, and then look at that. That is a pretty decent system.
And look at all the moisture wrapped in, going right behind it towards Sioux Falls, Minnesota, Iowa.
Here's a little thought. You and I looked at this morning and thought, if you had a system like this in about, not very long, maybe just even a month from today, month and a half
Can you say maybe 40 to 45 days from now?
I don't want to steal your thunder. You might have this already in your part of the show.
All right.
But these kind of systems, these can be interesting weather makers in the wintertime because you can get some stiff north winds. If you had all snow or even a rain-snow combo on the backside of this.
Well, it's going to be a cold rain.
Yeah, and we've been looking at this for tomorrow. The high in Sioux Falls, we're thinking maybe just around 50, but the wind is blustery. It's crock-pot weather tomorrow, Scott. You got to get the menu going.
I know. I have to think more about that. Melanie did make a lot of food yesterday to keep as leftovers.
Leftovers? Yeah, we had a pot roast here not long ago, and I'm thinking this is that time of year. You get into, fall, all those favorites that you have, but tomorrow's going to be a day where you'll be thankful to be inside because it's going to be windy, raw, and where it's raining like that, if we end up getting over half an inch of rain, it's going to be a pretty damp day.
Oh, yeah. Yes, and people still looking for some water, too.
Well, yeah, it could rain over an inch in my yard. That would all soak up, Scott. And maybe just enough time to get the grass a little greener before we settle into winter. That'd be nice. And keep that fire danger down, too.
Keep that down. One more day of maybe cutting the grass.
Just to clean it up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I heard that lawnmower going in the neighborhood yesterday. I didn't do it.
Getting those leaves cleaned up, right?
Yeah.
All that.
Well, stay with us. Coming up, we'll talk about our dry conditions in KELOLAND with our drought monitor. You're watching Weather or Not. Go ahead and talk about our dry conditions as you brought this up this morning too, Brian. Take a look at that drought monitor. See what's going on with it. We've kind of gotten away from it for a while.
Yeah, and
we've just been enjoying this dry weather. You get a lot of harvest done. You get stuff done around the house.
My dad always used to say that if there was a time of year he could pick for drought, it would be right now, or at least going into harvest, because then you can get harvest done and it's all pretty conducive. You don't want it to be too dry for the fire danger, but, there are advantages to having a drier fall. I have to admit that. But drought monitor is back, isn't it, for the Southeast?
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a bit. Here's where we are so far this month, about 2/3 of an inch in Sioux Falls, a quarter in Mitchell. You see these amounts are staying less than an inch. Central, eastern South Dakota, close to 1.5 inches in Rapid City. But you really don't expect too much rain in October. I know, yes, we can get our fair share of rains, but we are below average for the month. Central, eastern KELOLAND, Sioux Falls, close to 1.5 inches below where we usually see, or what we usually see for rain. A little more than an inch there in Aberdeen, 1.33 inches below in Mitchell. Rapid City coming in at 1/10 over of what we usually get in that northwest corner. Buffalo, close to 2 inches above. And isn't it interesting, too, that Buffalo this morning received at least a 1/4 inch of rainfall, maybe even a little bit more?
Yeah.
That northwest corner.
More rain.
Mm-hmm.
And even the deficits in Pierre and Phillip are a lot less than Sioux Falls. So it's still a trend. It's been around for a long time.
That Mobridge area. Here, let me see if I can move this map. Yeah, I can move that map. Up to Bismarck, 1.5 inches above.
Yeah, versus Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same driving pattern, isn't it? It's the same effects here. that have been keeping the rain away from the southeast. So this will be
And
an interesting story to watch.
I will mention this. That's part of my snow prediction.
Ooh, all right.
There you go. There's my only hint.
Little hint. We'll take it. We'll take it.
30-day precipitation percentage of normal here. A lot of us down over the past 30 days. You see that from Rapid City being a little bit below, around 75%, Pine Ridge, 80% of their average, and then you get into the 20s, 30s, and 40s, Minnesota, Iowa, and the southeastern South Dakota. So Sioux Falls at about 40% of what we usually have over the past 30 days. So this is the latest drought monitor. We do have moderate drought showing up in south central to southeastern South Dakota. Sioux Falls included in that, down to your place near Canton, Brian, all the way down to Yankton, Vermilion, even that area there at Storm Lake in northwestern Iowa, now in a moderate drought category. And you see how that does extend into west central and southwestern Minnesota. So we'll see if we can get our range to go of what we just showed you at the beginning of the show with our model differences. Now that things are changing a little bit more, that short-term model, the HRRR models catching up to those global models, trying to bring in more rainfall there across western and southwestern Minnesota.
Yeah, it's important, isn't it, to pick up some fall rain just to, keep things going because we don't want to slide backwards too much. One thing, though, I will say about this time of year, Scott, is even if it doesn't rain a lot the next week, month or so, you're not going to see drastic changes on the drought monitor right now going into, unless we get a bunch of rain. You could go up, you could improve, but to go downhill, probably not, because winter, it's sort of kind of steady. We don't really see any real changes to that, obviously, because it's not the growing season. We're not really exchanging moisture with the soil profile, obviously, given the context of frozen ground and all the things to come.
Temperature's cool, and you can't hold as much water when the temperatures are cold, so you don't expect much precipitation when you boil things down to the actual liquid amount. When you go into December and January, those are typically our driest months anyway.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. So it is an interesting forecast, and we'll see what we can get the next 24 hours. That'll be helpful, and then we'll see what comes. Ooh, the snow trend.
The snow trend. Should I? I don't want to do the boo sound effect for this. I've done that enough.
I like just. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, we're getting into November soon anyway, and we expect to see snow. Which
I
still
Christmas?
Need.
Are you going to play Christmas music one
Saturday?
Of these days?
Starts on Saturday, November 1st.
Well, and then is it going to be on this show too?
Oh no, I don't know. I better not.
You're not quite there yet.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to push my luck with some of the things that I actually do. That was a look at some of the snow depth, snowfall outlook over the next 14 days here. So this goes out the next 2 weeks. It shows up for the hills. Not too surprising there. Otherwise, we're starting to get some snow to fall
it's
here.
Even snowing there this afternoon in the Black Hills.
And a lot of that is weighted probably for the beginning of this 14-day outlook anyway.
Right. Yep.
Because we are looking at temperatures that will return above average as we get into that first week of November. So we continue to follow the snow trend here. Now I have it November 10th, 20th, and 30th. Look at November 30th for us. 94% chance that we would have our measurable snow by then. I hope we do. And then I could get rid of using this graphic and keeping track of this.
Got a lot of numbers in there. That's a lot of data to keep track of.
So, I've been following that. And let's see. I want to bring up, if I have my graphic correct here. I don't know. Yeah, this one. That 40 to 45-day trend. Let me bring up this. There we go. This 40 to 45-day trend thing that we've been following. So our next closed low, that graphic behind there, it still has October 29th. That's what the model was thinking, last week? A couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just need to take out that graphic. But the number is right, 40 to 45 days. That'll take us out to December 5th to December 11th for our next closed low if we continue on this 40 to 45-day cycle.
And that's an interesting time of year, right after Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving, that's that
first week or two of the month of December.
First weekend of December, I think that's the 6th or 7th, I think.
Well, and you and I have gotten so used to that part of December getting, we've had so much snow in some of these recent years. Not every year, but it's affected our climate averages now in Sioux Falls.
Yes.
When you look at the 30 years of data, it's actually been enough to tilt the whole thing from the old days when we used to talk about March being the biggest month, and now it's December. And so it's an interesting flip-flop there.
I think it goes December. I wanted to say February and then March. I'll have to look.
that's another thing too, isn't it? With the new climate models or the climate data when we saw the reset there.
I have so much work to do. I still have to do my all or nothing for November.
Right.
Snow trend with
We've
that.
talked that story a few different times, in different years where, yes, it's either great and there's no hint of winter yet, or it hits. And then I don't know if you want to call it an extra month of winter or a bonus month.
Yeah, depends if you like it or not, right?
Or if you don't
snow?
like it, yeah.
You don't like it, yeah. It's not a bonus month.
I always consider that to be the biggest thing going into winter, though, because if you go through and you don't have November, if it's a nice easy month, it does shorten up the winter.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of people now kind of assume that November's going to be okay because look at how long they do construction till November 15th.
Oh, they still have they put out the cones and it's like okay now they're going to start something new.
Yeah,
and then it's like wait a minute. We're getting in the end of October.
Yeah.
You better...
But that's the way that a lot of, I think you look at the climate averages, the snowfall trends, and they figure it's worth their time to do work all the way through the 15th of November or thereabouts.
Yeah. Again,
Maybe
it's all or
longer.
nothing. Sometimes we'll get hit early, and sometimes we don't get hit at all in November.
But then you think back to the big old blizzards. There's some years in there that, boy, you could start in October. You think about even going way, way back in the winter of 1880. That's the one that Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote about, the long winter. And that was a real deal. And it started with big blizzards in South Dakota in October. And they didn't melt. They were there. They started in, I'm sure there was some melting, but then, they kept coming and coming. And then, of course, we ended up with just monstrous amounts of snow.
Nothing like that this October.
No, I don't think we have to worry about that, Scott. I'm hopeful we don't have to worry. Although 2009 was a little interesting, but we'll save that conversation for another day.
We are out of time. Want to say thank you for watching this latest edition of Whether or Not. Have a great day.